Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Wednesday the 4th of October. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Reach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. A former Wandon gang member who had given key evidence in the trial has expressed a deep disappointment at the sentences that were meted out to the gang leader Andre Blackman Bryan and some of his cronies. The witness, who was a former community don and had functioned in the gang as a driver, said he now feels as if he had risked his life and his family for nothing by testifying against the gang. The witness, whose life has been in turmoil since he volunteered to provide information against the gang, said the type of person he knows Blackman to be, he should be looking at 50 years or more. I honestly think it should have been more, knowing the damage he has caused to many people's lives. I am very disappointed. I think the least sentence should have been at least 15 years, after all the deductions that were given. How can you hear the type of crime these men committed and give them a slap on the wrist? Honestly, if this is the way forward in the fight against crime, there is no hope for Jamaica and the Jamaicans. Looking at the sentences, the witness said he feels as if they went in the convicts' favor. In all this, they are the ones who win, because the outcome of this make it feels like I put my life and my family life on hold for nothing. So I would say I risked it all for nothing, he added. After all I have been through, and I am still going through, it is not worth it. He, however, grudgingly expressed satisfaction at Blackman's admission that he was the leader of the gang and that he had given the orders for the vicious and deadly attacks. They say when a man fall, don't celebrate, but why wait till they all fall to tell the court we weren't lying, he shared. Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn says her office will recommend significant increases in the penalties under the country's anti-gang laws. Her comments came at the conclusion of the Wandon Klansman gang trial in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Tuesday. The highest sentence handed down was a 39 years prison term imposed on the leader of the gang, Andre Blackman Bryan. The DPP wants harsher sanctions. If the country's chief prosecutor has her way, the maximum penalty for leadership of a criminal organization would be increased to life imprisonment.
Now, when we look at the leadership provision, we believe what we have is a situation where, if convicted, I believe that the maximum that the court can sentence is 30 years. 30 years. Term not exceeding 30 years. No. We believe, especially when one looks at the scenarios that played out in the evidence, that in 2023, the public interest would oblige us to ask for an amendment where you have life imprisonment as the maximum, and indeed a mandatory minimum to be served of not less than 25 years.
The DPP told journalists gathered at her King Street offices she also intends to recommend that the penalty for being a member of a gang be doubled to 40 years. Llewellyn noted that persons convicted of facilitation offences under the anti-gang law should also be treated severely.
We believe that for all these offences, the maximum should go up to life imprisonment, because these are very, very serious, as you can see from the fact pattern or the evidence. And, persons who perpetrate these particular offenses are literally driving blood into the veins of the structure, the skeletal structure, putting on the flesh on the bones, and keeping the organization going. So we believe that we could do a justification here for the Section 10 offenses for the maximum to be life.
According to Llewellyn, the Wandon Klansman trial put on show for all Jamaicans to see the barbarity and the callousness of criminal gangs. She said it was important for policymakers to protect the society from gangsters. The DPP is calling on the politicians from both sides of the political divide to support the proposed increases in penalties.
This is why we believe that our cry for an amendment to increase the sentence should get the support of both sides of the political aisle, because it will be a good thing for the public interest. And the parliament, the police, the prosecuting authority, I dare say even the judiciary, we all have an obligation to do the right thing and to act in the public interest. The evidence was there for all to see. So I trust that you all will have been satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that it will be a good call for an amendment. And I think I can say that both the police and the prosecuting authority, prosecution generally, that we certainly would support this call.
The DPP says her office intends to make the recommendations formally in writing to the Ministries of National Security and Justice.
We will be seeking to put it in writing with the justification and submit to the Minister and Permanent Secretary of, I think the lead agency will be the Ministry of National Security, and we will copy the Minister of Justice and the Minister of Legal Affairs as an extension of courtesy, because I believe that coming from this case, it is an urgent priority, and that the amendment must be drafted and passed in fairly short order, because there will be other, and there are other gang cases coming down the pike.
Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, Bailey, wants to see changes to legislation concerning pre-charge detention in anti-gang cases. He was reacting to the long-running one-done Klansman gang trial coming to an end in the Supreme Court on Tuesday.
We talk about pre-charge detention, and it has been a very controversial subject. But I think doing this type of investigation, there needs to be some form of authority whereby, because it takes a while for you, once you take in these gang members, you have to be doing a lot of administrative work, going before the judge, requesting that they be detained and all of that. So I think there needs to be some legislation that gives us, under certain circumstances, opportunity, especially when treating with these type of offenses.
DCP Bailey wants to see a method in which law enforcement can request a period of time from the judge for investigations concerning gangs.
So I think the crafters of the law need to find, and the legislator need to find, some methodology, whether from the get-go, once we detain, take those people in custody, we can appear before a judge and ask them for, be it 15 days, 14 days, 20, whatever, but they can determine the time that is required. But we need something like that, because it puts us under a lot of pressure.
The 4 men who were killed at a bar in Summerfield District, Clarendon, early Wednesday morning have been identified. They are 44-year-old Kish Brown, a shop operator of Line Road, Theo Manning, Varel Manning, and a man known only as Rasta or Thumper. Reports are that about 1:15 a.m., the men were at a karaoke event when the tragedy unfolded. Residents reportedly heard explosions and summoned the police. On arrival of the cops, 2 of the men were seen lying outside a cook shop with gunshot wounds. The other 2 were found inside the shop. The men were assisted to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. Investigators say more than 30 spent casings have so far been retrieved from the scene. No motive has yet been established for the killing. The Jamaica Constabulary Force reported on Tuesday that all major crimes continue to trend downward throughout the country. As of September 30, murders were down 12% and the shootings by 19%. The incidence of rape declined by 18% and robberies by 17%. Interpersonal conflicts account for 21% of the murders recorded so far this year, while gang-related violence is responsible for 66%. Meanwhile, Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson said there have been significant breakthroughs this period, with 2 serial killers behind bars.
The period saw some significant breakthroughs by investigators, with 2 serial killers arrested and charged. In St. James, 25-year-old Ronaldo Ricketts was linked to at least 5 cases of murder of homeless persons, as well as other cases of rape, abduction, and possibly kidnapping. Meanwhile, in St. Anne, we had 45-year-old Richard Belnavis from Buckfield, St. Mary, who has been charged for 3 counts of murder so far, and some others are pending. Our investigators in both cases are probing other related matters to ascertain whether or not these persons are associated with other similar cases. It's to be noted, though, that the investigators found no connection between both persons' activities. And I want to commend the officers involved in this case for their persistence, as well as for leveraging the available technology in solving those cases.
The police are seeking a man identified as Devon Holness in relation to Monday's incident, where more than 60 students at the Ocherius Primary School in St. Anne became sick after consuming cannabis-infused sweets. Holness, who is from Ocherius, is being urged to turn himself in. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson said that investigators believe Holness can assist with their probe.
We had a situation involving children from the Ocherius Primary School, in which they were sold cannabis-infused sweets by a vendor in the school environs. This resulted in over 60 students being taken to receive medical attention. We believe that a Devon Holness of Mansfield Heights, Ocherius, may be able to assist in our investigations. So we are asking him to contact the St. Anne Police as soon as possible.
The affected students were rushed to the St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital. It is reported that the children purchased the drug-infused sweets from a male vendor not known to them. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson has defended the arrest of suspects whose files are incomplete when submitted before the courts for prosecution. Anderson was responding to a recent criticism from Chief Justice Brian Sykes, who chided the police for being tardy and submitting largely incomplete files after making an arrest.
The reason why we arrest people before the file is complete is because there is sufficient evidence at the point of arrest to indicate that the person is likely to be charged for an offense.
The Chief Justice has warned that the courts will not continue to accommodate the significant inefficiencies in those submissions from investigative agencies from the Crown and the state. General Anderson says while the police are always looking to ensure that the matters within the remit of investigators are dealt with in a timely manner, there are other factors contributing to a file being submitted incomplete.
And I speak to things like ballistic reports and DNA reports and so on that are not within our remit, post-mortems. So there's a number of things that come on a file, on one of those files.
The police chief says some of the suspects are highly violent criminals and should be kept far away from the public.
The longer they are out there on the road, is the more people that they're going to target and kill. If there are witnesses in the case as well, or if they believe that there's somebody who witnessed what they did, they will use that opportunity to eliminate them. So we see that as a responsibility to not have these people out there once the evidence has met the threshold that we believe we're going to charge them for a criminal offense.
St. Elizabeth teacher Patrice Fagan, otherwise called Nordia, has been named as a person of interest as the police probe the death of a man in Burnt Ground, Santa Cruz on Sunday. Fagan, who is of a Burnt Ground address, is being asked to report to the Black River Criminal Investigation Branch immediately. Investigators are probing the death of Orlando Blake of Holt District. The police say several efforts to communicate with Fagan subsequent to the incident have proven futile. Prosecutors today raised the concerns over where accused child killer Kayode Satchel resides, causing the postponement of a bail application hearing. Satchel is charged for the alleged killing of 80-year-old Daniel Rowe on June 8 this year. Satchel's attorney Donovan Collins was expected to make a bail application when the case was called up in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court today. But before Collins attempted to make his application, a clerk of the court indicated that there were concerns about where Satchel would reside if she's released on bail. The clerk said it is unclear whether Satchel still resides in Valentine Garden, St. Andrew, where she once lived with an ex-boyfriend. We are not sure if that is still the case, said the clerk. Further, the clerk said Satchel also lived in Padmore District, St. Andrew, with an aunt who has now said she does not wish her to return there. The clerk noted that Satchel was apprehended in St. Catherine at a premises that did not appear habitable. In addition, the clerk said Satchel's criminal record and the booklet from her identification parade are still not ready. Collins lamented the delays in producing his client's criminal records and the ID booklet, noting that Satchel will have to return to custody because of it. The case was adjourned until next week, Wednesday, October 11th, when it is expected that the bail application hearing will be held. And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening and see you next time. Evening.